What is going on, people? It is the Rival Show. You are with me, your boy Chill Will. And we got my man Jake here. OH.
O.
And O.
I say H-O every time. And we got my man Tyler.
Go Blue.
My man. All right, these two are gonna chop it up about one of the biggest rivalry in college football. And one of just the biggest rivalries in sports, period. This is about Ohio State and Michigan. Normally, I know it's me and Toop doing basketball stuff, but this particular rival show, we've lent out the stage to our two brothers, man. So I'm going to step out, and I'm going to let these guys cook about their favorite teams. Take it away, y'all.
All right. Well, Jake, I think we both know how it's gone recently. But before that, I mean, the last win was 2011, I think, for Michigan with a Luke Fickell head-coached Ohio State team. So very recent rivalry. Michigan has been dominant. Not so recent, going back, into the 2010s, Ohio State was dominant. So it's interesting. There's a lot at stake. Maybe not as much for Ohio State. I think even if Ohio State loses, they still get in the playoff. This is make or break for Michigan. So what do you think going in, Jake? Where's your head at, man?
Well, going in, it's hard not to be confident with the kind of team, defense, and everything that we got going on. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, I'm one of the realistic Ohio State fans. I mean, look at the last 4 years. We were supposed to blow out last year. 2 years ago, it was going to be close, but we were supposed to come out on top.
That was one of the best games in the rivalry, I think, 2 years ago.
It was. The Kyle McCord game was great. And, again, I'm not blaming Kyle at all. I still think he had a fantastic game. Mm-hmm. He had an interception. That was his fault. But then Marvin Harrison completely forgets a route he's running, and that pick happens, game over, sealed the fate.
He played till the very end. I'll give Kyle McCord that. He played till the very end.
But me being confident for this game, I'd be lying. It's a rivalry game. It's the biggest game in college football. It's the greatest rivalry that's ever been ever. And anything can happen as always, especially when you go up to the big house. So, and we already know the crowd's going to be rocking. Ohio State in enemy territory. It's fantastic. You love this game. You love this time of year. Confidence? Mid, but do I think we're going to win?
Well, it's kind of a similar theme as, a little bit different than last year, but, you're going in Ohio State. I mean, they're a juggernaut. They've looked like the best team in football the whole season. Michigan is currently probably playing their best football. At times, it's hard to judge Michigan. One, Michigan's the youngest team in the Big Ten. I mean, you got an 18-year-old under center who isn't. I love Bryce Underwood. He's doing a great job, especially, the amount of pressure. I mean, you got to figure, and not just being the number one recruit coming out, going to Michigan, flipping your recruitment the way he did, the amount of money that was spent on you to be where you're at, the expectations are going to be way higher than for any other, even 5-star freshman quarterback that's going to start as a true freshman,
Was he originally signed with LSU?
It was LSU, and he flipped because thanks to Larry Ellison's wife. Thank you. Shout out to her. But, Bryce only has 9 passing touchdowns this year. He's ran the ball pretty well. And I think some of the things is, because he is so young and, it feels like he's held back at times. By the way, I mean that, just more so like restricted play calling things where, Bryce is an athlete. He's a baller. He was the number one, quarterback coming out of high school for a reason because, he's that good. So it's tough. He's 18 years old. Michigan always has a great defense. I think the offensive line is our best strength right now. I'd say if you put every position group on paper between Ohio State and Michigan, I'd say the only one I'm confident Michigan is better at is the offensive line. But, it's one of those things like, after last year, we were 6-5 going into that game. And, I didn't think we had a prayer at all. So, that – on the road, no less, so it's one of those things where it's a rivalry game. Like you said, Ohio State could be the best team, Michigan could be the worst team, or vice versa. And you're still going to be like, I don't know. So, Julian Sayin has been great this year. He's been amazing. So that does scare me because I'm a little worried about, him just carving us up.
Yeah, there's two biggest difference between how Sayin played and how Will Howard played. Will Howard did make mistakes. He did turn the ball over. That's not in Sands' wheelhouse. He's very. I'm not.
Yeah, he's only thrown what 4 picks this year.
Yeah, I'm not comparing. I'm just saying the play style is very Peyton Manning like. He's very slow,
Mm-hmm.
methodical, knows what he's doing, reads through the progressions, and
Well,
makes it happen.
And he doesn't get touched. I mean, he's only been sacked 6 times all year. So
Yeah,
he's on his feet. He's not on his back. I mean, he's got time to make great throws, and he's making them. Now that's another thing for Michigan that when you're talking about he's only got sacked 6 times this year. Michigan has a great pass rush. 28 sacks in a year, which actually is one less than Ohio State has 29, which surprised me. But Michigan's going to have guys like Jay-Sean Barham.
I really like that linebacker. I really like that linebacker you guys got.
Which one? Hold on.
I'd have to pull up the roster, but they had a game earlier this year, and they basically went on an entire life story of the kid.
Well,
and he was originally from Africa and was able to get adopted by his parents here. And he's been at Michigan his entire career, but really had to fight for himself to get a spot on the roster. It's Ernest Hausman.
Oh yeah, Ernest Hausman. Yeah, that's it. And it was funny. I was listening to Kirk Herbstreit talk about the rivalry, and it's funny. Kirk is interesting. I wonder how he's going to feel with his son being a backup for Michigan, and obviously playing for Ohio State. But it's kind of interesting. This day and age, how different the rivalry is like viewed as how it used to be, where it was more about respect. Back when Herbstreit and them were playing, the 2 arguably best teams in the country perennially. A lot of the kids that were going there were being recruited by both schools throughout high school. So a lot of them might have played against each other, growing up too. So it was mostly a respect thing. And now just in the social media era and everything like that, I feel like it's turned into a hatred. And it's fun, like that, but I would like to see more respect involved going forward, but I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking since you went on ahead and went with strengths, I definitely think that our offensive line is also a strength, but obviously our biggest strengths in our wide receiver core because it doesn't matter who's on the field. We have 5 stars all over the place, and Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate are both.
Oh yeah, I mean probably the 2 best receivers in the country.
We have the best tight end in the country as well, and Max Clare. He's going to be heavily involved. Brandon Ennis is also going to get us a decent amount of snaps. You might even see Graham in there.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that we're weakest at, and the thing is, it means we're probably going to be very pass heavy, is that you guys always, no matter what, year in, year out, it doesn't matter if you're bad that year or good that year, you guys always have an outstanding defensive line. And it's impossible to break through sometimes. And we are very weak at running back this year.
Well, if you're looking at last year, I think Bo Jackson's all right. Let's give Bo Jackson a little credit. He does have 800 and whatever yards. He'll hit 1,000 by the end of the year for sure. But last year that was kind of it looked like Ryan Day. That's what he wanted to beat Michigan like that. He wanted to run the ball. He wanted to prove that he was tough and we can win like this. When that their strengths were you were playing right at Michigan's best part of their team last year. So I would have to think that Ryan Day would make adjustments going into this season, being like, what, I do have a Heisman caliber quarterback. I have 2 Heisman caliber receivers as well, a great offensive line. I would expect them to throw the ball as much as possible. And, I think it's going to go one of 2 ways. Ohio State's going to come out fast and it's going to be 21-0 before we know what's going on. Or Ohio State's going to go 3 and out in the first drive. And Michigan's going to get that ball and they're going to take a nice methodical 8, 9, 10-minute drive down the field. And, Julian Sand and Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith are all going to be sitting on the bench for a long time, getting cold in that freezing weather. So Michigan's going to try and slow the game down. I think Ohio State needs to play to their strengths and, try to run the score up. I know that's how Ryan Day feels about it.
Fast
I'm still waiting on that 100, Ryan. I'm still waiting on it.
Fast pace and no huddle. And the reason why I said that is I don't know where Michigan's rushing defense is ranked, but Ohio State is ranked 59th in the country right now, and that's not good. That's why
Jordan Marshall is going to play. So I wish Justice Haynes didn't get hurt this year. You can't really control things like that.
I was going to ask you about that. How do you feel going into this game knowing that your guys' star running backs out?
I'll tell you this. We've had 4 players rush for 100 yards this year. So I really with us,
Underwood one of them?
and it's been that way. I don't know. Bryce has like 300 yards on the season. I don't know if he was. I know it was Jordan, Justice, and Cuzall. But that's the thing is it's a next man up mentality, and I think that especially like that running back room has seen some great running backs come through. Especially recently with Hassan Haskins, Blake Corum, Khalil Mullings. Like it's a pretty elite group that they have there. So I don't think that anybody is really. I think for whoever we put in that backfield is going to be successful, just because that's Michigan football.
And then and again, before we move on and start talking about the games that happened today and the rivalries we're looking to tomorrow, how's your guys' wide receiver room doing this year? I know you guys have that young quarterback playing the best he can, but his completion percentage isn't where you guys want it to be. But again, you got to remember
it's not terrible.
You got to remember at the end of the day, he's only 18.
It's not 80% like Julian Sands is, but it's Andrew Marsh and Donovan McCauley they're both good. It's tough. Like I said, we've only got 9 passing touchdowns the entire season, and both of those guys have 3 catches, and I think there's 3 other guys that have 1. So it's one of those things. I think Andrew Marsh has really stepped out, especially recently. He's shown that the thing is like there's not really a big wide receiver one. Like they're both good. I don't see neither of them are as good as Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, in my opinion. I'd love to have either one of those, but Andrew Marsh has stepped up big recently, and the passing game has looked more alive. So that gives me confidence moving on, especially, if we start running the ball well, and then we can start moving the play action in, and then, Bryce has been hitting throws. The talent is there. It's fun to watch the kid play. And, sometimes it's like you watch him and you see like, yeah, he's an 18-year-old. You can see it. And sometimes you watch him play and you're like, this kid's going to be special. So, I'm excited for it. And I think that Michigan is in a spot right now. Like I said, if this game was happening beginning of the season, I think it'd be a easy blowout for Ohio State. But Michigan is finding their identity, and they're young and it's fun. Like, we've pretty much been watching them grow in front of us the entire year, and they're becoming a lot of fun to watch. So I'm excited, and like I said, after what happened last year, I don't really I don't think I'll ever be afraid of an Ohio State team ever.
And you really shouldn't, because I'm never scared of a Michigan team ever either. The thing is that you can go in there and it's not going to be that pretty of a game for your team. Mm-hmm. And I've told you this in the past when you said that, I kind of had a moment of like, well, you should never really be scared of the team that you're going against. You should always know going in, there's a chance we can win just because it's a rivalry game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But never be scared of it, because we could be 0-9 or what would this be 0-11 going into this game, and as long as we beat you guys, it's a successful season. You guys feel the same way.
I agree. Yeah. Well, you saw what Blake Corum had said on Big Noon Kickoff when he was talking to Dave Portnoy. It was kind of throwing shade, but Ohio State did a great job last year in the national championship. That whole run was great. They are so lucky that it happened the year that it happened, because in any other single season in college football history, they would have not had an opportunity to do that. So all you can do is win the games that are in front of you. So I'm not mad at them. But I do think it was a pretty. I would say it's not quite a great. It's the Natty, but you still lost to Michigan at home.
It doesn't make it as pretty, because what you really want is to have that on it. I do like what Nick Saban said. He was like, when you win the national championship, no one remembers who you lost to. Obviously, people know exactly who we lost
to. I think you remember who you lost to, though.
No, I mean, that's fine and all, but no one else. It's going to go down in the history books. And it was the first time that we had a 12-team playoff. Every time they change a playoff format, Ohio State does a really good job of winning the championship that year. That's what's fun. But enough about that. We're going to stop talking Ohio State, Michigan just for a little bit. And we're going to get back to it and give you a decent game breakdown when it comes to it. But just going over today's rivalry games, we're not going to go into the history like we are with the Iron Bowl and the game themselves. Today, Indiana absolutely put belt to ass against Purdue, 56-3.
We all saw that coming.
Yeah, you have a 2-9 Purdue team. It's still a rivalry game. You still got to cover it.
But I mean, how good for Indiana? I mean, 12-0 season. Going to play in the Big 12 or Big 10 championship. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, shout out to Kurt Signetti. If you would have told me 4 years ago that Indiana was going to have an undefeated team that's going to, be in the Big Ten championship and play in the college football playoff, I would have laughed. So
yeah, and
what a turnaround.
The way how this gets broken down too, I don't know exactly who would be in because it would throw me off. Michigan, I think, needs to beat Ohio State. It needs Washington to beat Oregon to get into the Big Ten game. But if Oregon beats Washington and Michigan beats Ohio State,
I think Michigan gets in. I think a 10 yes, not the Big Ten championship, but I think a 10-2 Michigan team with a win over number 1 Ohio State, and only 2 losses being against Oklahoma and USC. I think Michigan gets into the playoff with that. I think it's a similar path we'll have to take that Ohio State did last year if we want to win it.
Yeah, we'll end up seeing how this goes. I got to see because they normally show graphics on how certain teams can make the playoffs because it's basically down. Indiana's made it. It's Ohio State, Oregon, and Michigan for who goes because conference wise, they're Ohio State's 8-0, Oregon and Michigan are both 7-1. I think if Michigan beats Ohio State and Oregon wins, they're in. But if Oregon loses to Washington and Michigan can beat Ohio State, that's Michigan's way in. If Ohio State wins, it's game over. It's Ohio State, Indiana.
Yeah, which would be fun to watch, honestly. But I'm hoping, obviously, I think if Michigan wins, they get in. And Ohio State, that's one of those things where it's like, yes,
I was only talking Big Ten championship.
Oh, yeah.
If Michigan can win this game against Ohio State.
Well, yeah, they need help from Oregon.
I think they've solidified their spot to at least get probably an 8 to a 12 seed.
I think they get a home game. I think they get a home game for the first round. But
so you're thinking more 4 to 7?
I'd say 5. I think they get in around what are the home? It's 5, 6, and 7 get home games, right?
5, 6, 7, and 8.
And 8. Okay, yeah. I think they squeeze in with that 8.
Gotcha. Something else that happened today that's just with that one game. And a shock in my opinion. Again, rivalry games, you can't really be shocked.
Yeah.
Texas overcame Texas A&M. And that was a 27-17 game, and that really shakes up the SEC standings here. Georgia's made the SEC championship, but now Ole Miss needs Alabama to lose to get into the SEC championship. If Bama wins tomorrow, they make the SEC championship.
The SEC is interesting, yeah, and I would say that's a surprise too. I definitely had Texas A&M finishing out the undefeated season because. Texas is one of those teams where it's just they can look great and they can look like they're clueless. So that's a big win for Texas, and that helps a lot with their case for the playoff too. Sitting right there, what are they at 13? So, was it 16? They're 16.
They're at 16. And this could probably jump them, in my opinion, to 12.
I think Texas gets in because of this, and then, like you said, that comes down to the Iron Bowl, which is another great rivalry. But Auburn's not a good team right now, but they fired their coach, and their offense looked good last week. They still lost the game to Vandy, but their offense looked good. They rested their quarterback the week prior so he can maintain his redshirt status, which is a smart move, but he will play. I cannot remember the kid's name for the life of me.
What team is this again?
For Auburn. But they, Alabama, you're at Jordan Hare. It's a rivalry game. Like you said, anything can happen. It's kind of giving Ohio State, Michigan vibes from last season. Even though, I think Michigan had a better. Auburn needs this to get into a bowl game too. So,
yes.
I think honestly at this day and age, a bowl game doesn't mean anything unless you're in the playoff. It doesn't matter,
Exactly. That's what I feel like. That's exactly why they moved to a 12-team playoff to get more viewership.
Yeah. So because there's no point. Who cares about the other bowl games at that point? And unless you're watching for your alma mater, your teams.
And again, I am throwing this out there, Tyler, because am interested in your opinion on this. With Texas being 9-3 and not going to be in the SEC championship, I don't know where they end up in the ranking come Sunday. But do you think this is the year that a 3-loss team will make the playoffs?
I think Texas is in, honestly. It's going to depend on what happens with these games, right? So, if Michigan wins, being one spot ahead of Texas, that's one. If Michigan loses, that Texas moves up a spot, right? So then they're one step closer. If Alabama loses, that helps Texas move up. So it's really going to depend on just what happens in some other games. Texas did what they needed to do. They went out and beat an undefeated, top 3 team in the country. And so, I mean, all they got to do now is sit and wait and hope some things go their way. But I mean, as of right now, I personally think Texas is going to get in.
Yep. Moving on to the next bit of rivalry. This rivalry, I've noticed the last 3 years, has actually been pretty close when it comes to these two teams playing. Georgia overcomes Georgia Tech 16-9 at Georgia Tech. This game's been super close the last 3 years. If you go look at the scores, I think Georgia Tech is a year or two away from actually being able to pull this game off.
Yeah, and I thought this year they had a shot. Georgia Tech had a better team than I think a lot of people anticipated them to have this year.
Also, they're a 9-3 team.
Yeah, and if they would have won, I think they might have gotten in the playoff too. But that pretty much ends it for them.
And just throwing it out there, it looks like conference standing wise, Virginia, Pitt, and SMU are all 6-1 in conference right now. If Virginia wins, obviously they're going to make their conference championship game, and Pitt and SMU are right there. So we'll see exactly where that goes with the ACC.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got, was it Pitt and Miami tomorrow? Is that who's playing? Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one.
Is that
Miami and Pitt? Yeah. That's same time as the game. That'll be on ABC at noon. That one is going to be out in it's at Acrisure in Pittsburgh. So Pittsburgh's 8-3 as well. So it's the ACC just isn't. It's harder for a team if you have 3 losses in the ACC, you're not going to get in like a 3-loss SEC or a Big Ten team would. So just because of the level of competition that you're playing. So.
Tyler, I know the other school that you were very fond of plays in the Big 12. I don't know exactly what games happened, but are you pretty sure it's going to be Texas Tech and BYU in that championship game?
I'd say that's a safe bet to make. The Bearcats play TCU tomorrow. I can't really put my finger on how the season is for a Bearcats fan because, for a while it was really exciting. That first week against Nebraska was heartbreaking, and I know that you and I talked about it, but
I still don't understand why they went to Nebraska when they could have just been a home game for them.
It was supposed to be a home game for the Bearcats, and we wasted it going to Omaha, or not Omaha, what is it, Kansas? They play at Arrowhead, right? Yeah. So that was kind of disappointing. They went on a great run after that. Honestly, they should have beaten Arizona. My uncle was at that game, and him and I were talking about it, and, UC was just the better team on the field, but, and I think when that stuff happens, you got to look at coaching because – that's your leader. And, if you're making those little mistakes that are going to cost you games, that falls on the guy at the top. And, I've been critical of Scott Satterfield. He did do better this year. I think that the Bearcats program is on the right track. Lots of new facilities. I don't know. I live very close to University of Cincinnati, so I drive by campus very often. And, I've talked to people, apparently people who are chefs who work for, the program and stuff. And the Bearcats have one of the best facilities in the country. It's brand new, millions and millions of dollars they put into it. So, Big 12 is finally starting to kick in. So hopefully that recruiting catches up, and maybe we're on the right track. But it is disappointing how it ends like that, getting blown out by Utah, which – I was worried about that game anyways. And it's hard, you're going to the other side of the country, you're playing way later, and Utah's a tough team, man. But
one of the longest tenured coaches in college football as well.
Yeah, so it was one of those games I was worried about, but they should have beaten Arizona, in my opinion. So at this point, yeah, it's a good season, but if you beat TCU, I mean –
it's an 8-4 record.
Yeah.
So off the wall question, obviously Wisconsin's not having a good year. Luke Fickell becomes available, would you want a reunion, or are you kind of off that idea, want to get someone new in? I had to.
Luke Fickell made his decision, and I don't think you don't take your ex-girlfriend back when she cheats on you, do you? No, you don't take Luke Fickell back.
Yeah,
he's gone. I don't care how pretty she is, you don't take her back.
Xavier made that mistake.
I told you that was going to happen. I said once Sean Miller got there, I was like, watch, he's going to do it to you again. And what did he do?
Right now, going on in the, let's see, this should be the Big 12 again. Going on right now in the Big 12, you have Arizona and Arizona State. This game was super close for a very long time. Arizona's officially blown this out of the water. It's 23-7, minute 43 left in the fourth. Arizona State, they're 8-3. They're going to finish 8-4 on the year. They had a great season last year, something unexpected. 8-4 is still very respectable. I think they got a lot more to build on. I think Sam Levet might come back again. I think he might be a senior, though.
If he doesn't hit the portal.
No, he's a sophomore. Yeah, he's fine. He could come back.
Yeah, if he doesn't hit the portal.
Exactly.
He'll be one that's looked at. Also, I heard Nebraska is really preparing for Dylan Raiola to hit the portal this season. So it's going to be an interesting. I like that they're changing it, right? Like there's only one transfer portal now. Like you have to do it from a certain time or you're locked in.
Yeah, they switched up the time frame.
I like that. That's good.
I don't know if our showrunner is in the back listening, but if he could hop on real quick, if he hears me, I think he knows exactly what was going on with that new transfer portal window, but I don't think he's very indulged in rivals right now, and that's fine.
Gotcha.
But
so are we.
There is a new transfer portal rule. I've forgotten what it is. We covered it weeks ago.
There's less open portal time or something like that. I know. But yeah. So it'll be, you got to make your decision quick, which I think is good because it's like you either do it or you don't. You got to decide quickly, and not as much of a charade as I felt like it was. So,
do you have any other games today or something tomorrow that you want to talk about before we move on to the Iron Bowl? Because we have about another 3 minutes before I was ready to talk about the Iron Bowl.
Well, I do want to mention about Vanderbilt and Tennessee because I think that's going to be a good game. Tennessee's the favorite right now, only by 2.5. But Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt have been good this year, which is always nice to see because we've always thought about Vanderbilt as being like the only it's not good. They're in the SEC because they're the academic school to bring them up a little bit. But
yeah.
But yeah, Vanderbilt's good. You love to see it. Pretty even though. I mean, Aguilar. I mean, he's a great quarterback too. Is he a freshman too? Tennessee's quarterback? No, he's a senior. I don't know why I thought that.
They lost Nico.
That's right. He's probably going to enter the portal again too. But that's going to be a fun game to watch, and that's something I'd like to point out, especially, being at Neyland Stadium. That's one of the, we talk about, the big house. We talk about Ohio Stadium. Neyland Stadium's got to be right up there with, Beaver Stadium, Michigan Stadium, all those places. That's an amazing cathedral of the sport. So should be a fun one down there in Tennessee too.
I think he is Diego Pavia. I believe he's still in high contention for the Heisman as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you think about what that award means and what it represents. I think it's the best player in the sport. And if you take that kid off of Vanderbilt, I mean, are they even remotely close to what they are? Not at all.
Nowhere near.
But you can say that about a couple of guys this year. So,
I see that being a tightly contested game. I think Tennessee's been missing something this year. I don't exactly know what it is. I can't tell you. And Vanderbilt's definitely a more complete team, and they've beat teams that you didn't expect them to beat this year, which is why their record shows what it is.
Yeah.
I've got Vanderbilt winning this game 5.5. That's about all. That's what I'm willing to give.
Okay. Yeah. So the spread's 2.5 to Tennessee. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a close game. I mean, I'm going to pick the Vols, and I'm going to go. I'm going to pick the Vols by 6. I'm going to say it's going to be 26-20. But that's because you're playing in Knoxville. Like I said, that's a tough place to go out and win a football game. So I got the Vols.
And just throwing it out there because I am a Metallica fan, Virginia Tech is playing against the ACC leader, Virginia. Obviously, I think Virginia's going to take this. Virginia Tech, which once was a very promising program, is back in the dumps.
Well, and I called James Franklin going there, and I think he's going to do a good job there. I mean, he took over Penn State when it was in turmoil, which is why I thought the firing was a bad idea because, I mean, Penn State was, after the whole Joe Paterno and everything, and he made them what they are, so for them to, I mean, I get it was a very disappointing season, but I don't think you just throw the captain overboard when he made the ship what it was,
100%. Oh, and don't get me wrong, Tyler, I'm 100% on this thing too with Franklin. You got to understand, I understand with what he's done, he hasn't gotten to the big game, he hasn't done the thing, but he made a semifinal appearance last year in the first 12-team playoff.
Yeah.
He also brought them back from the dead. And this one year that he trips, and it's not even his trip. His team literally got injured. Their star quarterback, who was a first-round potential quarterback, Drew Aller,
in a weak class we talked about, but yes.
Yeah, but at the same time, your quarterback goes out. You're building a new set because you lost a lot of seniors from last year. You can't expect the crazy success, but I understand where they fell and they didn't like because Penn State was the number 2 team coming out this year.
But the only reason they had those expectations was because of what James Franklin built. So I hope him nothing but the best at Virginia Tech. And like you said, I like Metallica too. That Enter Sandman is one of the best, most exciting intros in college football. I would love to go down to Lane Stadium and see that one day. That'd be a fun thing to watch. But
yeah, very jealous of that. Shout out to my brother. He's seen that about 5 times.
Oh, he's been to Virginia Tech? That's cool.
Yeah.
I've been to Morgantown. That's the only one. So
his ex-wife's uncle was a professor there. That's why he was able to get tickets and go.
Oh, cool.
But now, since we've hit the time frame, we got about 10 minutes that we're going to spend talking about 2 big rivalries in college football. We're going to start off with the Iron Bowl because we're going to save the best for last, obviously.
Of course, the reason we're all here.
Yes, we've got I'm trying to make my freaking phone work here. Sorry. This is where I got all my notes. I'm very techie. Tyler actually handwritten his, but
I know, and I left him at work. I'm just bad.
It's all good. We'll figure it out. We're good. We're good rolling by the tongue here. All right. So we've got Alabama going against a 5-6 Auburn team. Alabama wins this game. They're in the SEC championship. Right now, according to ESPN, the match predictors have Alabama as a 73.5% chance over Auburn. Ty Simpson, Tyler's going to go into what exactly he's looked like the last couple of weeks, but through the year, he has 22 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions. They're not really running the ball like crazy this year, but they're passing. Ryan Williams has had an off year, but he was also hurt a lot this year. But Bama's defense is still stout as it always has been. I don't know much about Auburn's team and how they're playing, but their quarterback is nowhere near as strong as Ty Simpson. But Tyler's going to tell you about why to be warned about Ty Simpson.
Well, like I said, I wish I had my notes. And Ty Simpson's been amazing all year. You know, we were talking about him for Heisman for the longest, but just a little shaky the last 2 weeks. You know, he's got 4 total turnovers, 3 picks and a fumble. You know, you're going into Jordan Hare, which is a very loud and intense for one of the biggest rivalries in the sport. So, you know, it's not going to be easy, especially with him struggling. And he's a great player. He's had a great season, but it might just be one of those perfect storms where, you know, he goes in there and maybe gets rattled a little early, you know, coughs the ball up once or twice. And Auburn can keep it a game. You know, you got to figure, and that's why these things are so fun, right? Like, even if you're having a bad year, and even why Penn State almost beat Indiana a few weeks ago, teams like Auburn, teams like Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, you know, all these guys are getting 5-star, 4-star recruits constantly, you know. So even if they're having a bad year, there's still some talented kids on the other side of that field. So Auburn absolutely has the talent to go make this a football game, especially with, you know, it being a rivalry game like this, being at home in front of their fans, wanting to spoil Alabama's season. And I know that's how you guys feel because, you know, there's nothing better than – I thought we did it last year, but there's nothing better than, you know, you're not having a good year, but at least we can screw up our rivals' year too, you know. So it's that, you know, like we might not have a good year like we talked about, you know, if we go 1-11, but that wins against you, it's not a bad year. So Auburn's going to come out to play.
Like you said, it's a perfect storm, too, because this is a home game for Auburn. The crowd's going to be going crazy, and there's a good chance that if Alabama loses this game, they have no chance at the SEC championship, and that also means that they're definitely out of the top 12. They're probably not making the playoffs.
And like I said, you know, Ty Simpson's thrown three picks in the last 2 weeks. He's thrown 4 all season, so he's playing – he's a little rattled right now. But that's the thing. I mean, it's really going to come down. We're going to see how what – him and Kalen DeBoer are made of because, you know, it's tough. It's just like, you know, it's a rivalry game and these guys hate you and you hate them and they want nothing more than to end your season right now. Because if Alabama loses this game, I mean, that's it, I feel like. Because you're sitting at 10, you know, and if you take this loss, I think that knocks you out of the top 12, especially with Texas winning. And if Michigan can pull off a win, you know, like I think that's bad for Alabama.
Again, that's why I asked you this question, Tyler. I mean, they said that this might be the first year that we see 3-win teams or 3-loss teams in the playoffs. I don't even know if Texas and Alabama played each other this year, but how are you going to give number ranked 16 a 3-loss team, over Alabama, who's consistently been up in the front. And again, your answer should be because they just beat the number 3 team in the nation.
Mhm.
But strength of schedule, Alabama's probably playing a tougher schedule by a little bit.
They have not played each other, and they both lost to Oklahoma. Trying to see, I mean, I'm trying to find common opponents here because, I mean, Alabama had a run, where they played, was it Georgia, Vanderbilt, Missouri, and Tennessee, all where they were all ranked. They had a good run those 4 weeks there, and then that loss to Oklahoma, and then even against Eastern Illinois, Ty Simpson threw 2 picks. They still won the game 56-0. But when you're at home and your Heisman quarterback's turning the ball over twice against a school that you shouldn't be turning the ball over to if you're Alabama, we'll just put it like that. It's cause for concern. You're on prime time on ABC at Jordan Hare. We've seen some fun games, man. The kick six, back with Cam Newton stuff. So Auburn hasn't won in a while, but I think that it's not one to sleep on just because the records look the way. And we learned that, in rivalry games, that you can't just look at the record and see how it goes,
And because this is rivalries and we do like giving the history, I'm just going to do a quick little paragraph, clip note history of this just so everyone can hear it. Again, I'm not a great reader, so bear with me. The rivalry, which started in 1893 and has been renewed annually since 1948, was played for many years at Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama. In the early 20th century, Birmingham was the leading industrial city of the South, rivaling Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in production of pig iron, coke coal, and manufacture of steel. Thus, the term Iron Bowl came to represent the rivalry. Auburn coach Ralph "Shug" Jordan is credited with coming up with the name. When asked by reporters in 1964 how he would deal with the disappointment of not taking his team to a bowl game, he responded, "We've got our bowl game. We have it every year. It's the Iron Bowl in Birmingham." Throughout the years, all-time series, Alabama leads 51-37 with 1 tie. Alabama's largest victory was 55-0. Longest win streak was Alabama from 1973 to 1981, and the current win streak is Alabama from 2020 to 2025. So, or to the present, sorry, not 25. We don't know that outcome yet.
The script is leaked.
There you go. But this is obviously one of the most important rivalries in American sports, whether this is in the basketball court or on the football field. There's nothing quite like SEC football unless you're comparing it to our rivalry.
It's better when they're both good, but even then, like you said, I mean, there's a reason the game's on prime time. It's always going to be a fun thing to watch.
Absolutely. Now, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and have a little bit of fun here because it's always my favorite thing to do. Tyler, we like looking at stat lines. We like being, we both, dabble in the bets every now and again.
Yeah, I liked your little history lesson you just did too. That was nice.
You're welcome. I'm gonna log into the old DraftKings here. I'm gonna show you what some stat lines here are for this game.
I like.
We're talking about gambling. What did you say?
I don't know. He jumped in out of nowhere. He
I don't know.
Was in and out. I don't know. I didn't hear him either. He jumped in and jumped out so quick.
Well, get it going, Jake.
I'm trying here. I'm not as smart as your average fifth grader. All right. So right now, Auburn is a plus 180 underdog to Alabama.
That's such a closer line than I would expect for
and the spread right now. The spread right now is Alabama minus 4.5.
Wow.
What are you taking with that, Tyler?
I think that's if you're going to put Alabama money line, I think that's a good mark because I would expect it to be further. What is the Alabama money line? What is that like? You said it's plus 180 for Auburn?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I would take Alabama money line. What's the over-under on points? Because I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I would say I would take even Alabama 4.5. I think Alabama wins by a score. I think they win by a touchdown at least. So
yeah, we're stealing Tuke's bit right now, and that's fine. He'll love this, but I did this for him because we always like talking stuff like this.
Oh yeah, I'm taking Alabama on the spread 4.5. I'm going to take Under 39.5 total points.
It is the over under is 45.5 on points.
Yeah, I'm gonna take under 39.5.
Cool.
So I'm gonna do my alternate line there. I think it's gonna be low scoring. Now here's the thing: is every time I come on these shows, every pick I make like doesn't happen. So it's almost like I'm writing the script of what not to do. So if you want to win, you should probably just tail the opposite of what I say. But I have been making some money on FanDuel recently, so
There you go. All right, and now for the prediction part, because we took up our 10 minutes for the slot, I'm going to go ahead and take Alabama. I'm going to say the score is going to be 31-24.
31-24. You got a high scoring one going on. Yeah, give me Bama 21-14.
Nice. And now what we all came here for, the main part, that team up north versus Ohio State.
Go Blue.
Right now, as we all know, unfortunately,
Well, let's get into the history. How did this start? Do you know about the Toledo War?
Well, I did Alabama Auburn. You take this one over.
So it's interesting. So it's basically this whole rivalry started over a land dispute for the Toledo Strip, which is just like a little. It's like 400 something square miles, like right where Toledo is at. But back at in the 1830s, that's where there was a lot of trade going through that to the Midwest from Toledo out to Lake Erie and whatever. So I can't remember what the name of the guy was. What was his name? Basically, the one of the governing people in Michigan was like, "Hey, like we're not going to let people vote in Ohio elections or whatever," and started a deal. And one of the Ohio lawmakers said, "Screw you." And was still voting up in Toledo elections. Like Michigan had claimed it. So they tried to go into a tavern and arrest him. Basically, his name was Major Stickney, right? The guy from Ohio. And he had 3 sons. Guess what he named his sons?
Go Blue Maze.
1, 2, and 3.
That's hilarious.
That was his son's name, 1, 2, and 3. So 2 Stickney stabbed a cop when they tried to arrest his dad, basically. So it led to this whole thing. Basically, everyone hated each other. We didn't like it, whatever, until we were able to play our first game. And we've just settled on the gridiron ever since. But yeah, interesting little fact. Just a little piece of land started the best rivalry in all of sports.
That's fantastic. Going into the history of this, we do have the most meetings in all rivalries. I think the only one that might be close to hitting us is Army-Navy.
Yeah.
We have 120 meetings total. Michigan owns the all-time series, 62, 51, and 6. The largest victory.
52 if you count the vacated one, since you guys do have vacated wins and we don't. But
there you go.
I digress.
The largest victory, which has a pretty neat little story behind it because we got our fight song, because the largest victory is embarrassing. In 1902, Michigan beat Ohio State 86-0.
Oh my goodness.
But the one good thing that came out of that loss was on the train ride home back to Columbus, Carmen, Ohio was written, our fight song. And the thing I will say, this rivalry does have the 2 best fight songs in all of college football.
Oh yeah.
Longest win streak was Michigan from 1901 to 1909, 9. And the current win streak belongs to Michigan, 4, 2021 to now.
And here's another thing that I saw today. Do you know what the record is while both teams are ranked? It's tied. 22, 22, and 4. So this will decide who takes the lead in that, the matchups while both teams are ranked. So I found that out today. That was interesting, I thought. But and I thought that was low considering how many times they played. But you got to figure way back in the day, that was probably very different. So
this is going to be very easy for both of us, I believe, because I think I know what yours is. And I want to take a guess. You're not going to guess mine because I don't share my stories.
Mm-hmm.
Because this rivalry means so much to us, I want to know, I will say mine, what your greatest, not our rivalry game, but like what your greatest memory of Michigan is. And I would want to say it's you taking your family to the Big Ten championship. I think
that was
that's
fun.
my guess for you.
That was a good time. Yeah, 2023, my brother, my dad, and I went up to Indianapolis for that and saw them shut out Iowa. So that was a great time. I would say, yeah, either that, watching the Rose Bowl against Alabama, just with my buddies at my house, that was a great one because That game was fantastic. Alabama played great. Michigan. I mean, that was just from start to finish a really entertaining and fun game to watch. From JJ McCarthy, making that throw to Rowan Wilson to keep it going. I mean, Michigan really, that was resilient. And I think after we won that game, I was like, we're going to win it all. So I would say one of those two, or at the game 2 years ago in Ann Arbor after Zach Zinter went down, when the whole crowd started chanting, let's go Zach. And then Blake Corum scoring on the next play and throwing up I think it was 64-54. He threw up his number. I thought that probably takes the cake. That might be my favorite moment.
And the thing that was cool about that game, you did see a lot of the Ohio State players take a knee and,
Well, and that just shows it's bigger than football, and we've seen that a lot of times, like at the end of the day, these are all, generally 18 to 22-year-old kids, and, they're just trying to get an education and better their lives and just do what's best for themselves. So, sometimes we take these things really seriously, and it's all fun.
It's crazy that you mentioned that too, because the wild thing is I was looking through my Facebook memories the other day and I saw that come up and I said, hey, some things are bigger than football and this is it. Zach Zinter, I hope you heal and get to the NFL quick. My personal favorite memory, again, I'm trying not to make it about the game, but the thing is, my favorite memory that I had with Ohio State was me and my dad going to our very first Ohio State game, which happened to be the rivalry game.
Oh, cool. Yeah. My first Michigan game was with my dad too. So that's awesome. I want to get Grant up there. My brother, he's not been. So, I actually told him I'm going to wake up early in the morning. I was looking at tickets tonight and they were not that bad. I saw them around 260 on StubHub. So if they hover around that, I might go up there tomorrow and buy some tickets. So
try to make a quick little trip off of that. But yeah. And then also, let's see. I believe the game has the record for most college game day appearances as well too.
Okay,
it's almost
that would make sense.
It's almost religiously always there because of it is the most important.
Is Big Noon Kickoff going there?
Is that what it is? I think they're getting a different game because
it's on Fox.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were there. It wouldn't make sense because it is on Fox. So. Yeah. If they're there too and they're both there, it makes the most sense. Going off of two different expectations here, just because I do both. Right now, it's probably going to be the same as the Auburn-Alabama game. But right now, ESPN has Ohio State.
It's 9.5, right?
Ohio State favorited 72 or 76.2, and according to the betting sites, because I don't want to say the name and get a thing for it. Maybe that might have been what we were saying. Right now, Michigan is a plus 300.
Yeah, and I think the spread's 9.5 right now.
Yeah, Ohio State is minus 9.5. The over under is 44.5.
Yeah, I mean. And like I said, I think it's really going to go one of two ways. I think if Ohio State comes out and they're firing on all cylinders and, Sands carving up the defense, I think it could get ugly quick. I think because here's the thing is I don't want to, diss on my boys, but Michigan plays a different style of football than that, especially right now, Bryce being young. We're going to try to do those long methodical drives, take the ball off the clock, keep Ohio State's offense off the field and keep them cold sitting there in this freezing weather in Ann Arbor tomorrow. So I think that it's going to come down, and my thing is, Ryan Day's got to prove it. I'm not worried about Ohio State at all until he proves it. And I know that the hatred is there, especially for him. I mean, it's that the fact that the playoff was expanded is the only reason that he has a job right now, because I know dang well that if it was a 14 playoff, like the year before, he would have been fired for losing that game. They would have fired Ryan Day last year if he didn't get the opportunity for the playoff.
There's a damn good chance, and I was calling first, the national championship did definitely give it a little bit of a remedy for me.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool thing to win. I like winning natties too. So
I think in the moment, a lot of people giving the team the hate that they got because they were a 2-loss team. You got to remember that they took the longest trip there. They beat 2 SEC teams to get there. They beat the team.
Oh yeah, the run itself was great.
They smoked the team that beat them or gave them their first loss of the year, and then they go on to beat Notre Dame, which was tough as it could be already. So I do like what we did last year. It's time to break this streak. I do. What you mean? You have the same sentiment. Those colors piss me off. I hate everything they stand for. I hate their fight song. I hate their field. I hate the M. I hate everything about it. There's nothing about this team that I like. There's nothing redeemable about Michigan or anything. But going into the game, you guys are rushing just a little bit better than us. You guys got 871 rushing yards. We have 385. Jeremiah Smith has not broke 1,000 yards yet this year, but that's fine. I'll take that. We'll make up for it. Hayden Curry has been the biggest surprise for me from the defense this year, holding nine sacks already. But the thing is, everybody said that we really needed to be worried because we lost our D coordinator, Jim Knowles. Well, Jim Knowles went to Penn State and shit the bed. That team doesn't look good. Chip Kelly left us. He went to the NFL and he just got fired because he couldn't remember the goddamn playbook.
Matt Patricia's been great. And being a Lions fan, that pisses me off because I don't like that guy. Matt Patricia's been great. And it is kind of fun. I've seen him interact with his players. And, like you said, it's bigger than the sport. It's what it's all about, I enjoy seeing, coaches and players have, interactions and relationships like that because, it is so much bigger than football. Those kids are going to remember you for the rest of your life and maybe they don't go play pro football and, whatever. But, so I really appreciate coaching moments like that and stuff.
Brian Hartline's taken over. I think his play calling at times aggravates the shit out of me because he runs when I think we should pass and we pass when we think we should run. But then again, I'm not a coach getting paid.
Yeah, that's why you're not getting paid.
But
I know what you mean. It's always hard to be an armchair coach.
We're getting both our star receivers back. That takes a lot of pressure off of Bo Jackson. It takes a lot of pressure off Max Clare, who's looked great the last 2 weeks with the receivers being out that we had. With Matt Patricia taking over, I thought it was the smartest decision. I had a lot of people coming to me laughing at me saying that's a terrible hire. Why would you hire that failure of a coach? I'm like, we didn't hire him to be the head coach. We hired him to be the defensive coordinator. He's won 3 Super Bowls on my New England Patriots. I'm like, this guy knows how to coach defense, and he literally took over the best defense from last year and somehow made them better because this defense is different from last year's defense. We just we just played violent, hard, and heavy. This defense,
which is different than I think that's going to help them because they're going to have to make Bryce uncomfortable. They're going to have to put some pressure on him and make him beat them other ways because if you're Michigan's going to run the ball and we all know that. That's you got to. I think Ohio State's going to need to load the box early. But they have the safeties and the corners that can you can put those guys in man coverage while you put extra guys in the box to get some pressure on the run because you don't even if they don't run the ball, then you've got guys who can cover. And Michigan's wide receivers aren't great. Like I said, Andrew Marsh and Donovan McCulley are going to have a good game, and they've looked good recently. So I'm confident that they will come out and play well. But it's Ohio State's got to play their game because last year they tried to play Michigan's game, and we know how that went.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of that is all Ryan Day. I think he just. You've seen Waterboy. We've all seen Waterboy. You remember when Henry Winkler, the coach of the Mud Dogs, is looking over at the other coach, and he has to picture him as a puppy dog. I feel like that's how Michigan coaches see Ryan Day. He's just a puppy dog, and he doesn't, and then you go beat him. So, he's got to. They got to play their game because they tried to play. They tried to not be true to their identity last year, and it backfired.
Continuing on with that, though, Ohio State is going into this game 11-0. Michigan has had, a pretty good comeback season at 9-2. They've had 2 games that they probably should have won. They've been in tightly contested games. Ohio State, again, going back to what I was saying about Matt Patricia, the thing that we've noticed about this team is that, yes, we do have the wide receivers that can do this, but if you look at the stat numbers, it's not that great. We both have 2 very, very young quarterbacks that are just getting comfortable into the game. That's why I said I see – it's the Drake May effect of me seeing this. We've had the easiest schedule. Ohio State's basically had the same thing, easiest schedule. They've had a few tougher games, but we've seen Say and shine just like we've seen Drake May shine when you go against lesser competition. But I think it's a little bit different in college. You can't look at it like that because everybody's good in the NFL. Supposedly, you got to go pro. So all these guys are, there's people that can't make it, there are people that is. But Ohio State, I think Julian saying is just a little bit better than Underwood right now. And the thing is, even if they get stuck off the field too long, Ohio State's defense is going to do exactly what they were able to do to Notre Dame last year. And if they're on the field too long, it's okay because we're just wearing down the offense. Notre Dame came out pushing hard and heavy, got that touchdown right away. Defense wore on them. Matt Patricia's kept the same defense, kept the same motto, but tweaked it to himself. And that's the thing. If you're watching these Ohio State games, they are close a little bit at the beginning, but the defense just wears them down so much to where the offense is out of the picture. But the offense on Ohio State has to be clicking on all cylinders to make sure that we get ahead. Because if you give Michigan any bit of confidence, they're going to punch you in the fucking mouth.
Well, yeah, and that's kind of, it's a little bit what we saw last year. But with Michigan, I don't think that, that's the thing, is that they want to have those long, methodical, clock eating drives that are going to, eat up almost a whole quarter if they can, just running the ball down your throat. And that's going to wear the defense down. Those guys are going to get tired of just being pushed back every play for 5, 6, 7 yards at a time, and I think that's why that's good for Michigan. You want to keep Julian Sayin off the field. You want, when the weather is like that, you want him to be cold. You want him to not get in any sort of rhythm whatsoever. Even if he does go out and score a touchdown, try to play your game of football. Now here's where it gets hairy: is if Michigan, if you don't capitalize and then all of a sudden you go 3 and out and you give them the ball back and then it's 14-0 or something, then you're in trouble. Because then you got to start throwing the ball because you're already 2 scores down. But it's going to be interesting. I think Michigan needs to come out and have a good first drive and hit Ohio State in the mouth. I think you got to get. You always want to score on the first drive, but it's just one of those things where if you don't want to get in a shootout because you're not going to win that. So I think you need to keep pace the entire game. But that said, it's going to be. I think it's going to be defensive. I think that it's going to be low scoring enough. And if Michigan keep it in, but here's the thing: is if it's not, I think it's Ohio State's going to run the score up.
And I do the thing that I'm more excited about is I am excited for the defensive chess match, because
you got 2 great defensive coordinators going against each other with a lot of great players. So
you do want to have long, methodical drives. But the thing is, we don't have to really necessarily worry as crazily much, like you said, about the wide receiver room. So I'm not too worried about our corners and safeties getting wore out.
Well, that's why
we have a very athletic linebacker in Arvell Reese that's going to be blitzing and covering, while Sonny Styles can do that as well. But without the blitz, he'll do more the covering. The thing is, though, is that they can get worn down as much as they want, but our front four has a back four. Bo Atkinson, there's a bunch of younger guys that have come in and started playing really well on the defensive line, where even if they are getting worn down, we are going to be able to switch in and switch out. So on those long, methodical drives, again, another big surprise. Caden Curry surprised the hell out of me, but the transfer portal from North Carolina, Bo Atkinson, he's playing like a mofo all of a sudden. I'm loving everything he's doing. So I do think it's going to be a defensive struggle. I know the what was that? The score line was 44.5. Tyler, I don't see it touching that. I see this.
I don't either.
I see it being a real gritty game that might end 17-14. Honestly.
Yeah, it could. I think maybe you get a little more than last year. Last year was bizarre. Honestly, I don't think anyone saw it being that low scoring, but that's what Michigan had to do. They had to make it an ugly game. But this year, I don't know. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's nice when both teams are good. It's nice when there's playoff implications. Last year it was all just about trying to spoil Ohio State's season. This year, we have a lot to play for. There's a playoff berth on the one. If you win, you're in my opinion. So it's a lot more than just a rivalry game.
Possibly a Big Ten championship to play for.
Possibly a Big Ten championship to play for. So and for Ohio State, same thing. You want to put your rival out. You don't want them nope, go home. Your season's over. We don't want you. You're not coming to the playoffs. This is where we, so you want to. It's tough. Both sides have so much to play for. It's always more fun when this game has a lot of meaning behind it. It always has meaning, but when there's actual implications going to the playoffs and things like that, it's just all that much more to love.
So before we get to the actual score predictions from me and you and close out this show, I obviously did a pretty deep, in-depth breakdown of my squad. If you wanted to go ahead and do a quick 3-5 minute breakdown of your squad like you did, and we'll go into a prediction, I'm down.
Yeah, and like I said, I wish I didn't leave my notes at work because I had a lot more notes written out. So it would have been better. But here, give me just a minute. I did type some other stuff up.
I don't even know if you guys had any coaching changes, but if you had some coaching changes between your coordinators or whatever, don't forget to mention that either.
Sorry, hold on, give me 1 second. So, I mean, well, obviously, like we both know, Bryce Underwood he's only got 9 touchdowns to 5 picks, where Sands 27 touchdowns to 4 picks or something like that. So, Bryce he's an 18-year-old. He's a true freshman under center. Michigan has always been about running the football. Justice Haynes, beginning of the year, Justice Haynes was averaging over 7 yards a carry. So that really helps a young quarterback out. Then he goes down, and Jordan Marshall, the Moeller kid, shout out to Cincinnati high school football. St. X just won today as well. So they're playing for a state championship. Jordan Marshall is playing great. He's got 870 yards. He's averaging 6 yards a carry. Bryce is even averaging almost 5 yards a carry. So Michigan's going to have to be tough and run the ball. That's what they do. But Ohio State's going to expect that. So that's why I said guys like, Andrew Marsh and Donovan McCauley, who are definitely the top 2 receivers for Michigan. 42 catches this year for Marsh, 32 for McCauley. 650 yards for Marsh, 488 for McCauley. Each got 3 touchdowns. So if you can, if the run starts messing up, you're going to have to start using some. And, we got some great coaches out here, some great coordinators. There's going to be trick plays called. There's going to be, it's fun to watch the kids go out and, battle out in the field. But, you've got some great minds in the game of football that are going to be battling it out as well with their play calling and things like that. So that's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And like I said, Michigan's really going to have to try to diversify themselves because we all know Michigan can run the football. They've been doing it for hundreds of years now. But hundreds of years. But
I mean, no, you're not wrong. I mean, well, it is 100 year.
Yeah, well, it's going to be something. Ohio State. You're just trying to make your rival uncomfortable, and that's really honestly like what Michigan did last year with Ohio State. They wanted to win by running the ball and playing to Michigan's strengths because they wanted to be tough. And I think for Ohio State, you just got to try to air the ball out and make this defense run all over the place because it's not going to work if you're going to try to win in the trenches. Because
right,
I think Michigan still. I mean, Ohio State's line is better than it was last year, so I think that helps them out a lot. Michigan's defensive line probably isn't quite as good as it was last year. The team around them is better, but
your team last year was impossible to run on.
Well, the rest of the Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant were monsters up front, so they were very, very tough to get by. But yeah, it's going to come down to defense. I mean, Michigan's good at getting turnovers. And that's going to be something that, you're going to try to put some pressure on Julian Sand and, you're going to want to make him make some, in front of 110 plus thousand people, loud, can't hear yourself think, you're going to have to make him uncomfortable and make some mistakes because, if Julian Sand doesn't turn the ball over, it's going to be a long day for Michigan. Yeah. But I think that's what you're going to have to focus on is, playing to your strengths and, making your opponent uncomfortable. Because Julian Sand's young too, like you said. This is probably the biggest game he'll have ever played in so far, especially being on the road in Ann Arbor. It's never fun.
Yeah. Oh,
for the opposing quarterback.
That's the biggest away game. Biggest game so far has been the Texas game, but this is definitely the biggest.
I think this is a bigger game than the Texas game, just due to the implications. The fact that it's a rivalry, the fact that you can put your rival out for the year. They're playing, your rival's playing for a playoff spot. You're playing for playoff seeding. If you don't win this game, you probably don't get a bye. So it's one of those things.
Not like it mattered last year, though.
Yeah, well, exactly. But I think, and what's crazy? I think if Michigan wins this game, this could very well set up a rematch in a few weeks.
Yep.
Which would be a lot of fun to see them play again in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. So doing a double, that'd be sick. Now, with all that being said, Tyler, this is your first full-blown podcast instead of just being a guest coming in for picks. Full-blown podcast. You absolutely get to go first on picking the score. So, like I said, I think it's going to go one of two ways. I think it's going to be somewhat similar to last year, maybe a little bit higher scoring. I'm going to pick Michigan 24, Ohio State 17. Oh, you suck. That was my score. But
really?
Ohio State.
It used to be flipping it. Okay, man, great minds think alike. Now, I'll tell you this. I did put some bets out there that have Ohio State money line on it. So just in case we lose, I have a backup plan to get some money out of it. So
there you go. Make some money
Ohio State. Yeah. Well, my buddy did that last year, man. He bet Michigan money line. He made out like a king. So he was like, damn, today sucks, but at least I got some money out of it. So
I will definitely take the under, and I am going 24-17 Ohio State.
I'm going under on the points for sure.
With that being said, that's been this rivalry show. Tyler, at the end of the shows, we normally do shout outs. I'll go ahead and go first so you can see how it works. I'm I want to thank Tuke and Will for being able to allow us to have this show. Super cool of you guys. Absolutely love the time being able to bring my friend for probably 20 years by now. To have this
longer than that, man, like 25.
Yeah. So it's always fun to be able to do this stuff with your friends. And thanks for Dale for uploading it later for us because this is pre-recorded. So if you see us not coming back, that's why. Other than that,
thank you guys very much.
OH, go Bucks.
Yeah, same. Tuke, Will, shout out to you guys. Dale for helping us out tomorrow. We appreciate it. Jake and I we have these talks all the time about Ohio State, Michigan all year long. So it's fun to share it with you guys too. So, and I like to think that we're respectful to each other. We're not disrespectful when the cameras are off about it, but
No, we're way bigger.
Well, we watched the game together a couple times. I don't know what you're doing tomorrow. Honestly, like I said, I'm going to try to go up if I can find a ticket worth it. So,
right.
It's only a 3.5 hour drive from Cincinnati. So,
hey, our faceless host is here. What's up, Will?
Yeah.
Going on, people. What I had jumped in and said, I didn't want to derail any further. What I had jumped in and said earlier was that I also liked the history lesson.
Oh, okay, yeah. I wasn't expecting Jake to do that. He wasn't very good in history class, so I didn't know he knew anything about that.
That was some fun information. I think I've heard some of that before, but I didn't hear all the details. So that was cool.
I wasn't good. I wasn't good at English. I was a math and history buff. I was good.
There you go.
Hey,
we all have.
How are you not good at the language you speak, Jake? Come on, man.
You'd be surprised how many are.
I know. I'm just giving a hard time.
It's a tough language. English is dumb.
It is. It is stupid.
Right? Also, I know Tyler would be super interested in doing this. Anybody else coming out for these rival shows? Will and Tuke are absolutely killing it with the basketball talk and the Boston Celtics and LA Lakers talks. Tyler and I also have one other rivalry that we love to talk about, and that is UC versus Xavier.
Cincinnati and Xavier. Hey, only one of us went to one of those schools, though.
We are gonna. Hey, hold on. Your grandfather has a great legacy at Xavier.
Oh, that's right. Well, my grandfather.
So
we have another one too, Jake. We have one.
Yeah. It was my great uncle, but
because Duke and UNC. So
Duke and UNC. We're going to have a show for that, and we're going to have a show for XU and UC. I work that Friday, so we're going to do a pre-recorded show, and I'm going to be watching it when I get home. So
so we've done it now. So we know how it goes now. So.
The crosstown shoot up?
Yes.
Okay.
With that being said, Will, if you want to close us out.
This has been another episode of the Rivals Podcast. This is everything that me and Tuke had envisioned when we decided to do this. It wasn't going to be just us. It was going to be bringing in all different people with all different rivalries. I think that's going to be fun.
That is fun. I love it.
This one was a little impromptu, so I got to get more of a editing going on, but we'll see. I see what Dale can spruce up with this one. He's pretty good at this type of stuff. But STWF TV, like, share, subscribe, join the website, follow us, join the chat room, follow us, and happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Have a great week. Have a great rivalry week.
Everybody. Yep, let's go. Go blue, baby.
Away.
NO.